it's just the way that society goes. It's not right, but that's just how it goes. It's just that type of thing. And so that's why for me, seeing it for how it is, seeing how people are, how they driven the popularity. Again, is it really his fault that people have such a high buy-in to him, or is that more of a need for us to have some introspection as people to be like, okay, what is it about us that we're championing someone, despite this? And is that necessarily bad? Because like you said, you have some honest people who made a mistake in the past. You don't want them to get crucified for that mistake. So, it does lead to a deeper question.
So if he was black, would he still be able to do this?
No.
Welcome, world. Welcome, family. You have tuned into another episode of the EL2A podcast, Exposure Leads to Access. I am your host, Jamie Gilmore Jr., joined by, Mr. Military Man, a.k.a. Mr. Krabs, b.k.a. Mr. Miles from Comic Health. Then to the right of him, you got Mr. Eddie Rocket, Mr. Eddie the Rocket Rocker. He was famously given that name at FAMU University, if you don't know, the Rocket. So, he was, kicking it off, it's funny. You watch different podcasts, you watch things they do, and one of the podcasts I watch, they bring up, statements and they say fair or foul, but I kind of was thinking about that, not even to do that, but I was watching the Republican debate recap last night, and I was just thinking about it, and I seen all the people up there, and then I seen that they start talking about Trump and how Trump's still winning, and then I seen Trump did an interview with what's my guy name? Is it Carson or what other
Tucker Carlson?
Tucker Carlson. I watched that as well. Yeah, I start thinking about it. Y'all think that's bad that Trump is up all against this and he's still able to? What's your perspective on that? Is this the land of the free, or is this what's your perspective behind somebody being able to be against all that and still be able to be in the race, winning the race for president?
I would say it's fair. I say it's fair because, like you said, you got a deck stacked against them. So in our mindset, I'm thinking that if I'm a politician, right, then it's on me to sit there and take advantage of that. Not saying that you want someone to go through a political witch hunt or go through this and the other with politics, or the way that it's going, with how nasty it get. I don't like that being part of politics in general, because it just messes up everything. Where just kind of how voters get involved and everything, it just gets very nasty business. But anyways, it's fair. They have the opportunity to capitalize on what it is that's going on with him. If you fail to capitalize on, such a big thing that's going on with his political career, that says more about you than anything else.
Yeah. But and it also speaks to that celebrity status.
It does.
You know what I mean? Because you get a backing, and even with social media nowadays, you get these people that get this strong following on social media, and that take them as far as they need to go, because you're literally growing a following of people that's going to support you to the death. So even thinking about real Trump supporters, to the ones I know, you really probably can't tell them folks nothing about, Donald Trump. And even through his stuff, it's like, I'm sticking beside him, you know what I mean? And so it's a tough thing. But what you think, sir?
I do agree, to a certain extent, as far as, it's being fair, but then we break it down to community. And, when you think about some of the men or people that have criminal backgrounds, but you did just allude to, if you're popular, then, they bop out. That doesn't even bother the crowd. But let's say if you don't have that status quo and you're a criminal, don't even place your name on the ballot, because they gonna knock you down. So
yeah,
I guess I'm in the middle. But what's trash fair? What's not? I guess it's fair.
Yeah, it's just the way that society goes. It's not right, but that's just how it goes. It's just that type of thing. And so that's why for me, seeing it for how it is, seeing how people are, how they driven the popularity. Again, is it really his fault that people have such a high buy-in to him, or is that more of a need for us to have some introspection as people to be like, okay, what is it about us that we're championing someone, despite this. And is that necessarily bad? Because like you said, you have some honest people who made a mistake in the past. You don't want them to get crucified for that mistake. So, I mean, it does lead to a deeper question.
So if he was black, would he still be able to do this?
No.
I think, and that's making fair. So is that fair? That's why I said, what's fair is, and that's what my stand was. I didn't want to go there, but like you say, well, if it was a African American male, ain't nowhere in the world he gonna be able to, still be on that platform.
So how is it fair, Mr. Military Man? If he can do it as a white person, and a black person can't do it, how is that fair?
Because he's playing the system that he's been dealt. For us, we know the system that's been dealt to us. But for the most part, we have been collective in fighting against that system. And so when I say it's fair to him, from his perspective, from Donald Trump being who he is, and as a politician's job is to win the election. That's their job, point blank. So he's doing what he's doing. He's doing what he needs to do to secure himself. Now, for us, that's a whole different context, because now you're talking about if a black person's in those same shoes. Well, first off, even if we're not in those same shoes, even if we're not a criminal, statistics show that we have the same likeliness. So for an average black person with no criminal record has the same probability of getting a job as a white convicted felon or one who has a criminal record. So we know that.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with our system, and that's even more need why we should come together to help highlight these things and really get people in politics, black people in politics, that can sit there and speak to their truth and start eroding some of those toxic traits of our society.
Yeah. So how does that? But because you hear that's kind of, I ain't gonna say it's cliche, but you hear that. So we got to start doing this. So that's the end of that. But at the end of can one ever reach that level of celebrity influence to where the tides are flipped into our favor like that? So it's like, because I guess we're fighting to close the gap in a sense, but still, so I agree with you. Let me say that first. So I agree with, so I'm a man that's, you play the cards you were dealt. You get what I'm saying? I ain't with the complaint. It is what it is. And obviously, but there has to be a plan in play to work towards getting to what you're talking about. So it's like how do we work to that? And are you working in vain? And I guess that's what I'm getting at. Like, are we doing something just to say we're doing it? Just like how companies put diversity, chief officers in there just to fill the space, and really don't give a crap about it. You get what I'm saying? So how do we align ourselves to make sure we're actually doing that?
You have to hold people accountable that could make the quickest linear transition to that. And what I mean by that is we have LeBron James. We have different black individuals who have that star power. Of say like a Donald Trump, where they're well known, they can sway the masses and stuff of that nature. But it's on us as, I hate to use the terminology, but lower on the wrong, to hold those higher value black individuals accountable, because they have everything. They have the insulated income where they can basically say what they want to say and be protected. We don't. So, but we give them that pass. So when things happen, they speak on behalf of the average black experience. But as you said, it doesn't go any further than that. There's never really any real motion of them using their platform, using their money, their resources to really make a huge push. They say that I'm going to use my name, my stats, my money to uplift this young brother who I truly believe in, his political message, give him a platform so that now the people who I have sway over buy into him. So now we can get him in there, get him really making some real, tangible changes. But that doesn't happen, and we give these people all these passes, so they get out there, they say yada, 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 they'll say Black Lives Matter, they'll send a check here, and then we just applaud, and then we move on. So you think, to close it up, and I get where you're going on, we got to start doing that. I think we are at a level, what we do, creating those opportunities here in Ocala, Florida. So from each one of y'all, do y'all agree
that it's fair that Donald Trump can be in his current circumstances and have the opportunity to be our future president?
Yes, because we allowed it.
Yes or no?
No, bro. I'm just saying.
Yes or no?
With the content, yes.
Yes. Okay. How about yourself, sir?
I'm gonna stick no. I'm gonna say no.
No.
Okay. I speak for the people.
Yeah, they talk about for the people. And I'm gonna just say I plead the fifth. I understand. I do. It is what it is to me. So yeah, it is fair. So to turn it over, man, we dealing with a hurricane right now, fellas. What's the hurricane called?
Idalia.
Idris eligible. Hey, how do they come up with hurricane names? Y'all know that?
Oh man, I forgot it now, but it is a.
Is it a job? It's somebody's job?
It's like a.
Paid to come up with that?
I don't know they get paid, but it's probably a side to their usual job.
Yeah,
You know?
I heard. I don't know if it's true, so don't try to make fun of me if it ain't. I heard that they go off the alphabet. So like this was an I, the next one will be a J.
Yeah.
So that's
And then it's like a way in which they pay. Now I don't remember exactly how they said, but yeah, it's a system for it.
well. Whenever we get the name, I think I wrote it down. The name is Idris eligible. What's your boy name? Idris eligible.
Idalia.
Oh, Idalia. Idalia. I-D-A-L-I-A. So Idalia. So in Florida,
NOAA's National Hurricane Center does not control the naming of tropical storms. Instead, there's a strict procedure established by the World Meteorological Organization for Atlantic hurricanes. There's a list of male and female names which are used on a 6-year rotation.
so they use a name more than once.
A 6-year rotation.
Okay. All right, that's cool. Well, that we figured out how you got it. If you didn't know, it looks to you. Came here and figured out. You know what I mean? So learn every day. Learn something every day. Right here on this platform, you will be educated. All right, exposure leads to access. But what I wanted to get into the concept, I was thinking about it. So being in the gym this morning, and I'm really just chilling. We got a hurricane that's supposed to hit us in the morning, early in the morning, which will be Wednesday morning, 2 a.m. But I'm chilling. I'm not thinking about the storm. I'm actually thinking about our work and what we do. And I'm in it, and that's where my mindset is at. But that's me. On the other spectrum, you got some folk that's running around in the grocery store. You got folk that's,
Up the city,
scratching their head, trying to figure out what they're going to do, how they going to do it, and text to the news channels and checking it every day to imagine where it go at. So for me, it came up to the mindset like it's prepared and be unprepared, or fear. Fear is really what came to my mindset, because hurricanes evoke fear in the people. And it kind of came into the world. So even outside of the context of a hurricane, and just people in their normal lives, you know what I mean? The concept of not being prepared or not being, what is it? That's what I'm trying to bring to y'all. What is it that invokes fear? What is fear? Let's start off with that. What is fear?
So when you get the context of it, fear could be just being uninformed. So when you talk about in the example that you gave, you know that the storm is coming, but you know also that I've been living here in Marion County for X amount of years, and as long as all these storms that have come, they pretty much bypassed us.
Mm-hmm.
If they did anything, power lines down, flooding, but it hasn't been anything detrimental to your health, to our health. So basically, again, you're informed with, okay, well, being in this centralized location that I'm in, or if the storm come, there are minor things that may happen. But for the ones who aren't from here, they haven't experienced, they're uninformed of what happens by basically living in Marion County, living in Ocala. So now I'm here for the first time, and all I hear is a tropical storm, hurricane is coming. But I never experienced that before. So I don't know I don't know how to think. I don't know what to think, because I've never been here before. But again, for you, you're informed with, okay, this is how we do things, or all right, this is not the first time a storm came to Marion County, so I'm used to it. So I think it's just, I think fear falls under being uninformed, or it could be misinformed as well. Because if you get the wrong wrong information, now you could base your perspective, you could base your thought process based off what somebody else told you, and that could be the wrong information as well.
So like you, because that kind of made me think about what we went over with the boys last night.
Yeah.
So Miles went over activity of being fear and being anxious. Yeah. And he gave them a context of different scenarios and asked them, is this fear or anxious. So, example, I think it was like if a dog ran at you.
Yeah.
That was, what was it, you remember?
Yeah, if you were walking down the sidewalk and a large dog was coming towards you, is that fear or is that anxiety? Because there's a difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So anxiety, what it was saying was basically that it's more tied to the emotional spectrum because it's with the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know if the dog is going to bite you or if it's coming up to you because it's just friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an either or type of thing. Whereas fear is more based upon something that's factual or it's concrete that, okay, yeah, this is going to be the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some that's, like last night, some that was a little bit subjective. There was going back and forth on it a little bit. You can see their viewpoints on it. But the biggest thing that really set the difference was, like you said, some of them had experience. So they knew that, okay, if this happens, then this is the effect or the consequences. So they're going based off of their past experience, saying, well, yeah, when this comes, then yeah, it doesn't feel too good. So, but it just gives you that information on how to, go about it, how to deal with it.
But then so you say it's based off the experience. So if I fear this because I experienced this before, I seen this vicious dog coming at me charging. You remember, hey, matter of fact, you remember when we were in the car, you as a baby, you had the scratch on your face from the dog that jumped through the, so he don't remember that as well. But we were in the car and the dog jumped in and scratched his face. He doesn't remember it, so he's not fearing dogs. But to that point though, all right, so you're fearing something because of the experience. You remember you seen this vicious dog coming at you, so now you just used to, all right, the dog is coming, I'm leaving because of fear. But then it's when you're informed, now you're switching it to now you're getting informed about, all right, not all dogs are, or basically you're getting another viewpoint of, all right, this dog is chasing you. It looks vicious, but this dog is just playing. So now that fear is going away with the information that you're giving.
Yeah.
You're learning. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like you can tell by the body language of the dog, for example. If he's coming to you a certain way, then because based on these signs, I know that it's a aggressor. Or based on this sign, I know it's just a friendly dog that's excited.
Yeah.
So it dictates how you respond to it. So that's basically the gist of what we were getting at last night is that through information you can kind of reduce that conflation of fear and anxiety and really separate the two, understand what you're actually dealing with. And so that's so important. Even like with this hurricane, it's so important to understand how you move. So it's a hurricane, something to take serious, but does it warrant running around literally losing your mind over?
Yeah.
So
yeah. And it maybe also, so when we trying to relate it back to people or to anybody, when you're thinking about fear, so okay, a hurricane is coming. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. Okay. A test is coming. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. My bills need to be paid. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. So how does that correlate to that? Because what I'm saying, you're saying information. So you're saying information is the reason the person fears their bills, or information, not the test, yeah, because I didn't study them probably. But like, so for the average person that maybe fears the first of the month because their bills are late, like what is that? Is that a lack of information still, or what does that correlate to? You know what I'm saying? Because people fear things. There's a lot of. Are you saying everything that's being feared is just because you lack information? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, and some fears are just concrete, like fire. It burn.
Yeah.
Not to be in it. That. So some things are just concrete. It's a safety net. It's to keep you safe.
Yeah.
So we developed that as we evolved. As people. So some things it is what it is. But still, it's about how you respond to it. Like, if you see a fire, you know that I can put this fire out, or I can bypass this fire. I can, do all these things to help mitigate the risk that's associated with that instance or that aggressor or whatever it may be. You understand it for what it is, and it gives you the options on how to interact with it.
Yeah.
So to your point though, that is something that's big. A lot of times, people's anxiety is so high because they're they don't know. You know, it's things that they don't know. And I'll never knock somebody for not knowing something. But if you come into contact with it and you don't take that to then learn about it so that you're better equipped in the future, then I got a problem with it, because life is always going to introduce you to certain things. Life is about learning. So they all teach you.
When I mean information through experiences at that moment, because when I think about a hurricane, it's not that I'm informed to the sense that I went and studied the path and I know it just came through experience, because I went through so many hurricanes and I came out all right. So it get to the point to where, okay, in your experience could turn to your detriment.
It will.
You know what I mean? Because it could be like, okay, now you don't got too lackadaisical. Now they're saying I'll slap you in the mouth. So where's that middle ground? You get what I'm saying? So where's the middle ground?
You know, you get that analogy of the first of the month. So the experience is, all right, it's not, you got first of the month 12 times like, like, it ain't gonna change. The first of the month come, you know the bill need to be paid. So if I save my money ahead of time, then I can prepare for next year's Christmas. And so I go from trying to buy Christmas gifts 2 weeks before Christmas to where I'm purchasing Christmas gifts end of October, beginning of November. So I know that this is coming, and the fear is not having my kids the gifts that they need for Christmas or that they want. But it's like, okay, well, how do I alleviate that fear? Just taking the precaution that I experienced this before and I don't want to be there again. So just being ahead of.
And to take it back to what you were saying before about, you know, if basically, like, does the knowledge guarantee success?
Right.
Basically, and the answer is no. You know, there is no guarantee to success. You know, you can have that lived experience. You can have secondary experience, like from our stories about living in Ocala, going through hurricanes. We can tell somebody all day long that, okay, yeah, this is what happened. You know, that's that secondary knowledge, but it doesn't guarantee, you know, that when that storm arrived, it's not going to do some damage you may not have thought about. Which is why it's important too. You know, you have to think about that worst case scenario right on, but do it in a controlled manner, not in a way that causes you to you know, work out of chaos. Use it to think about, okay, this could happen, therefore let me check to make sure it's straight. And then after that point, it is what it is.
It's funny you said that, because even with there are times where it has happened where I pre-planned for Christmas, and all right, I know I need to get it in October. All right, well, you know, I'm still ahead of the game. So I'm gonna wait till November, and I still end up finding myself within that crunch time, but maybe still a few weeks off from Christmas. But the mindset behind it is, I'm not working out of chaos. To your point, now I'm controlled, so I'm not scared because I know I got the money there. It's just me moving slower to going to purchase these gifts. So, you know, it is easier to deal with. So it's, again, that fear, it alleviated the fear. Now it's just, okay, I just need to get it done. So it's just experience.
And that mindset thing is definitely a key. We always talk about mindset, because even what I was trying to think about is like times where I would just, I guess, fear was on me. And we talked about testing. I think we said something about testing earlier, and I started thinking about college. So, you know, you got them tests that's coming up, and you know you're not prepared, and that's, you know, I guess if you say anxious fear, like, I'm scared because I don't took one before. You know what I mean? The situation where me personally, I was put on academic probation the prior year, and they trying to kick me out the business school. So it's like, I'm fearing this thing. I have the information that I need to study to do it, but I'm still not putting the time in to study. You get what I'm saying? So I'm fearing, but I guess it can go back to the mindset of what's important. Where do I put my energy? Where I put my focus? You get what I'm saying? And in the midst of what we're seeing, I think it all goes back to that. So with the average person, or the person who may be struggling with, you know, with fear, you know, because I even think about like animals, you know, when like a dog is scared, like how they tuck their tail, like how they, you know, go into shock, instantly go down, you know what I mean? So for people, it's the same way. Like their brains just stop. So in this moment, like what we got right now, what they say, if the TV say buy water, buy like board your house, the people that's in fear, they're going to buy water, and board their house. You got to even think for a mindset. So think about a mindset that is fixed to do exactly what it's told. You know what I mean? So we got to get out of that. So I want us to, you know, through our conversations and obviously through the podcast, give people that information, get them to be able to take them outside of that fear. So that's what's the point of bringing up the hurricane, because it's a direct correlation to people and the fear that they have. So even back to our boys, you think about, we preparing young men through 4th to 8th grade and bringing them acknowledgement of what fear is and how to be able to decipher, okay, I'm not fearing this. I'm just anxious.
Right.
That's a big in the mind. That words are very important.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So if you're saying, okay, I'm scared, I fear, like that's like a shutdown mentality. I'm just a little anxious.
Yeah.
That's just how the thing works. In the words I just said. So it's a different conversation. So y'all get one going. Y'all get one going. Yeah.
And both can be dealt with. You know, one can be hit more from the knowledge realm. You know, the more you buffer your understanding of things, you know, it limits the control that fear may have. And then the other is emotional, you know, intelligence. Yeah. If you're anxious, there's more of an emotional tie to a situation. Then the more knowledgeable you are, then you can sit there and self-soothe or, you know, get yourself, you know, pep yourself up a little bit, saying that, you know what, yeah, I'm feeling like this, but also now I can navigate my feelings, you know.
Funny, so think about the snake. Yeah, you remember now. So I don't know, Q probably didn't tell you yet. So the snake in the backyard, I'm cutting the grass, but the kids in the backyard playing, they see a snake. They come get me. My emotions tell me, well, I don't like snakes. I don't want to be around a snake, but my emotions is, if I don't kill this snake, what, my kids gonna think I'm scared? And then the snake gonna still be in my backyard. So I had to build up that courage, you know, even, you know, just life experience. We done seen snakes before. When I was younger, I didn't have kids. So
Right.
we would have took off, we would have got away from that snake. But the fact my emotions stopped behind is, man, my kids, they're gonna see that dad either be a hero or that dad be a
Right.
wimp, you know?
Yeah.
So those emotions took over at that point in time. So even though I fear snakes, I'm not crocodile, whatever the name is. I don't chase snakes, I don't chase animals. But for me, in order to, you know, show my kids that sense of, all right, there was this there was something there that I was supposed to fear. But my dad showed me, get your emotions, get yourself together, face that fear, chop the head off, and now, so again, to them, now I'm a hero. And so now, again, even though I'm giving you that example, that story of the snake, that's still real life, because now you can teach that. All right, son, you remember when you were in the backyard and I was cutting the grass and I seen that snake. You know, even that, this is when he gets older, when they get older to understand. I was scared. I feared that.
People put their fears off on other people. So like to be generous. So you ran away from that snake at that moment.
They were
Guaranteed they running off the rest of their life. And that's even a bigger deal right there. So you facing that in that moment, you cut it off all the time. Like that. It's simple. You know what I mean? Son, daughter. It's simple. Just cut the head off or just do this and get rid of it. So many people I have are walking around with fears that's not even their own. It's just passed down fears. You get what I'm saying? Don't do this for money. Don't save your money and do it. Which is, you know, say do talk to your financial advisor. But whatever it is, you know, you put don't do this, don't do that, and you cripple people because of what people. Don't too many people into the adults, and a lot of adults don't do it. Take the time to really decipher something that's for them and not for the person that told them. So what could be?
Yeah, I was going to say, and you know, we right now we're discussing on the individual level, but a whole bunch of individuals make up a community, make up a society. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if we keep putting that fear, living through that fear of somebody else, and we keep limiting ourselves over time and over a group, you know, that entire community is only going to go so high because everybody walking around, you know, looking at the shadow, basically. They all being afraid because of what happened to somebody else. And so, you know, we really have to reinvent that. We have to, you know, challenge that mindset and really speak power to, you know, the truth of what we're saying about understanding, you know, because there's so much power in understanding.
Yeah. I was saying it to the y'all gotta keep going. He stopped right up.
There's some noise in the background. Thought it was an alarm.
I was supposed to keep talking. He stopped and looked at me.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's us up. So we got but that's good. He was done talking, right?
Yeah,
let's just pick up.
So you were saying what you as the community. So even last night with after school program, what we did with the critical thinkers, we had the kids come together collectively. So we broke them up into groups and had them come together collectively on an issue at school, and how do you solve that issue? So for one of them, that could be so if you tell one of those, if I would have told one of those students to come up with within that school says, so it's one of you against hundreds of students. There's an issue at school, you need to solve that. You know how afraid that student would have been to solve that issue alone? But then when we put them in that group setting, like you all come up with this you come up with the solution to that issue together. And when they came up with those issues, when they came up with those solutions, when everybody started hitting, like, man, y'all actually came up with some great ideas. So coming together collectively to knock down that fear of community. We can't do anything because we are minorities, or we can't do anything because we don't have all the money that the other communities have. Put that fear aside, come together, and then now you knock down that fear. And then the younger generation, now they're seeing what's been done, and now they're gonna, continue that.
So let me ask y'all. So, do you think in the modern day, with the vast resources that like the average person has now, information at their fingertips, just the vast opportunities even that we have right now, do you think the fear that's stopping our modern generation from doing the things that we read about and learn about from the civil rights movement, do we feel as though it came from that generation that may have been too young to be active during that time period, but experienced it? They were kids, but they saw some of the things, the people getting beat, the fire hoses, the dogs, the stories from their grandparents about, the Jim Crow era, all these things. Do you think some of that fear resonated, got pushed down to us? Because I know, anecdotally speaking, for me, I know even with my parents, they pushed me to try to be the best miles I could be, but at the same time, they still had hesitation about certain stuff. I know a big one is about investing, but that you just didn't do that. They made it seem like it was such a negative thing to even attempt to do, and so. Yeah, they want you to be your best, but then at the same time, they also want you to play safe to the sidewalk a little bit.
Yeah, so I definitely agree, and that's coming. So it's crazy. Our mother was telling me, I'm at school, so I didn't know what I was going to school. Well, I went to school to play football, so to speak. Went up to college to play football, but knowing I had to get a degree, right? I didn't know what I was going to get a degree in. But I worked at I worked for Parks and Recreation, so I had interactions with kids. Kids love me and I love the kids, but the experience that my mom had with teaching, she told me not to get a teaching degree because of her fears, or because it wasn't rewarding enough to her. And so she told me not to do it. Look at us now. That's all I do. That's that we do that. We're with kids every day. But I had a fear of actually, I never got my degree. I never got my bachelor's degree in education because my mom told me not to get a degree in education, which that fear was, it's not going to be rewarding. I'm not going to love down later on in life what God has for me. What's my purpose?
Right.
And all along, that probably was my purpose. That could have been one of my ways to success, so to speak. I could have went that route, did education, okay. I could have experienced it and seen that, okay, well, that's not for me, and I could have went another way. Right. But the fears that she put, that barrier that she put up for me, stopped me from doing that. So I agree. It's just, sometimes a lot of times it is pushed out.
Yeah, and I agree with that as well.
It's a lot of people, going back to, I think I said it earlier, a lot of people just can't think for themselves, and you got to think, especially in nowadays, these group of kids may be the kids to change that, because it's social media thing. So they going to find out on their own.
Yeah.
At a certain age, especially, so we got to look at the social media, MySpaces, and all that other stuff in the web at itself, but there still was a limit to it. You didn't have laptops, you had to go on your mama thing, whatever. Most people, your knowledge, you were educated to the level of your parents at a certain time. When we were kids, you go to your parents, hey, mom, what's 3 + 3? Right. And you got to take whatever she said. If she said 10, it's 10. Yeah. And you ran with the 8. So somebody else says it's 10. Nowadays, these kids skipping the middle, man. They go right to Google, they go right to the internet, and they go ask some questions. So these kids, to answer your question, I think to our point, we were navigated by our parents and by the people around us beliefs. But these kids are the deal breakers right here. These are the kids that are going to change the world that set out to, because there's so many information that they tips, and they're learning it. They're learning the social media platforms. They're learning chat, GBT, all these different things. So the world is there. So you're not going to be able to tell the kids something and they just run with it, so they're going to research stuff of their own, which is going to be a good thing, which may be a bit, you know what can come from it. But to your point, yes, I do believe we were hindered to the standard of our parents and to the people that was around us. So, and that was passed down for generations. Like you say, the mentality of your grandmama putting money in under the bill, whatever they were doing, and saving, all that stuff was limited stuff that we didn't know, like you say, saving, credit, doing all the different things that we weren't learned. So maybe they weren't even able to do certain things, but it was just passed right down. It made me think about I think it was a saying about a certain pot. It was like this is what they're talking about, certain pot that was used to cook something. And it was they say, you know what I'm talking about? They kept using it, and then she finally asked her grandma, well, why did we use this pot? And then they finally got back to the girl. Well, this is how it happened. It was a girl. She was cooking, let's just say a pig. For I don't know if it was a pig, but it was something. And she used a certain pot. She went to her mama and said, why we use this pot? And then the mama said, well, because your grandma used it. You go ask your grandma. She went to the grandma, why we use this pot? And then your grandma said, well, because, my mama used it. And then she was able to get the great-great-grandmama still alive. She was able to go to the great-great-grandmama use it. She was like, well, why we use this pot? And she was like, well, my mama used this pot because that's all they had. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So now you don't went back all these times of people that were using what they had. Right. And now you using what they had back then in a whole different world. So now you don't hinder yourself, you crippled yourself to the point where you could have been took your family to a whole nother level of use information that but generation information that should have bypassed. So general information has its place. Because I do think there's even for myself, sometimes I think about my family, where we come from, how we got here, and stuff that I wish I would know that I don't know. And, so some things that I guess the stuff that we should know, we don't get the stuff that don't make no sense to us. So it's like, how do we bypass?
And to that point, especially at the end, that's on the money, because when we look at the newer generation, it's almost like they have no real desire to listen to anybody that's older than them. So, whereas we listen to everything that they say, even into our detriment, now the new generation, they to the point where, like you said, they bypassing the parent because they have the access. But is that necessarily a good thing? Because there's certain things, my great grandmother, she lived to be 103. So she was able to tell a whole lot of stories to, my parents and my parents' age group. So some of that little experience that was passed down, and that was told to me about certain things about, what it was like living in Florida at that time, different things, or even when some of our elders that we still are blessed to have around now, that information is going to be gone at a certain point because people are no longer looking to those elders to sit there and listen to what they're saying. So it's like, yes, we have more information, but we also have less connection to those that lived during that time period, that were contemporaries during that time period. So now, they got all this information, but, who's to vet it? Who's to say, I was there, that's what happened, or, you see what I'm saying? Like, there has to be some kind of balance. We should be able to have this information, but then still go to our elders and bring that information to them, and then just kind of see what both say, and really make a determination from that point.
I like it. So, and these are conversations that need to be had, because imagine, y'all still watching this, or somebody even older, more preferably an older person that maybe still under a limited belief or belief that was, that's outdated, for lack of better words. This could be that podcast where you challenge your beliefs, challenge everything that the things that may not be working for you. Like, man, why are these things working for me? You got to think about, like, where did I get this from? Where did this concept come from? Who gave me this? And be able to challenge those things. Because a lot of things, like especially when they give it to people you love, somebody that may have died on and passed on, you hold that deep and near. Because grandma told me that, great grandma told me that. I gotta let her beliefs last on You get what I'm saying? But to set your family free, maybe something different you need to do. Another little pot you need to get, another little experiment. You know what I mean? Stop using that same cheesecake recipe, man. Nah, it's okay. But change it up a little bit. So the transition, what I want to do, I want to give somebody some, advice that y'all, individually, somebody that may be dealing with fear, dealing with the lack of being able to innovate new ideas, innovate new beliefs for themselves. What are some y'all can give?
It's crazy because I don't know. So this is actually the Secret to Success podcast too. I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I don't think it had the podcast didn't have anything to do with fears, but at the end of it, what they basically said was how. So basically, a tangible thing. What can you do tangible? Whatever you fear, whatever your fears are. So it could be 1 through 5. List them, and then go find 3 ways to bypass those fears. Or what are 3 ways that you can? I can't pass this test. I can't pass the state exam test. What do you need to do in order to pass that test? All right. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And then for those 3 to 5 things, whatever you identify as a fear, just go back and find 3 different ways to get around that. And I think that'll help you get over that. Okay, this is that fear, but this is what the experience. So, and the information gain can also be the experience that I need to seek out, the things that I need to do in order to bypass what those fears are. So, I think it's just that simple because I did it and I'm like, that's crazy. Yeah. For instance, so I got my CDL. I don't have my CDLs for so many 5+ years. When I first let me take that test, when I first got in the truck, it was out the door because I was afraid of driving the truck. I had always told myself I would never drive a truck. But then when I got faced with life and I had a daughter to take care of at that time, I got my butt back in that truck and I got my CDL, years later. So when I looked, I was like, bro, that was really a fear that I really didn't want to, I didn't want to have nothing to do with it. But then I got back, the experience, I wanted to know how to get over that fear and I got it done. So,
what you got for him, Brother Miles? I would say transparency and humility. And for transparency, for the older generation who have the lived experience of wisdom, be open to saying where you may have went wrong, because as you were saying, some of the things, some of your experiences could become limiting beliefs for a new generation. So speak to that truth about areas where you realize where you went wrong, or maybe you fell victim to a limiting belief. You can still pass that wisdom on, but add on the context saying, but I wish I would have did this better, or I was limited by the people that came before me, and this is why I did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And for the young generation, be humble. Just because you got information at your fingertips doesn't mean you know everything.
For sure.
And you still need to rely on some of that lived experience, that wisdom that can sit there and say, look, I know it say this, but I got some years in the field, so it's not exact. Yeah. So I would say, transparency and humility be my advice.
Yeah. And I'll just say my last would be learning from your mistakes. So many times, that's a cliche word, learn from your mistakes, but we really don't learn from our mistakes. So many times we'll keep bumping our head and till it's still looking crazy. Like, why is this happening to me? It's like you just did the same thing you just did the last time and it didn't work. So I don't know if people think, the belief of, because you are told on another hand, never give up. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's so many things that may put you in a box. So you're like, well, I was told not to give up, but now keep up my head, what's going on? And then, but that goes back to learning from your mistakes. If you're really assessing a situation from, when you're dealing with fear or failure and all those different things, you can assess and be like, okay, I'm failing because this isn't for me. You know what I mean? It's not I'm failing because, I need to get better. It's like, no, this is just not what I need to do. And that's just like the person that tried to chase a sport for so many years. You know what I mean? And because the fear of not capturing their dream or whatever it is, it was like, bro, nah, this just isn't for you. You're 30. Yeah. Go find you something else to do. You know what I'm saying? To get to a certain part where enough is enough. Exactly. So it'd be learning from your mistakes, actually being able to assess the situation and say, all right, this isn't for me. I need to pivot and go to something else. You know what I mean? It gets to a point in time when enough is enough. And I can't tell you when that is, but that's when you got to dig deeper into yourself and really be able to analyze yourself and say, okay, it's time to move on, and be able to live with that and live with the progress of going forward. So, and that's harder said than done for most people, but learn from your mistakes, man. So that's where we at with the world. But man, that's good stuff. That's good stuff I learned. So anytime we sit here, man, I always want to be able to bring up real life scenarios, give people some great advice and to get them where they need to go. And I think that's what we did today. I hope, everybody tuning in was able to take a little nugget, take it with them, put it in their pocket, and save it for later when you get the munchies, I just can't do that. That's how I might have to use that again. I might have to use that again. That sounded cool. But no, man, to wrap it up, fellas, let's kind of touch on school. So we just started in the schools and, we got the kids going and some better than others. Some situation is, we go into school and you mentor and you feel like obviously is the first couple weeks. So we getting to know boys, but you want the best for everybody. And sometimes it just don't work out that way. So for myself, just to lead the conversation out, the perspective and what I want us to do, I want us to give us like 3 things that we're looking forward to, this school year. Well, it ain't got to be 3, it could be however many. What are you looking forward to the school year? And my biggest thing that I'm looking forward to this year, man, is those kids that don't get it. And they don't get it. So, for example, going in one day and then coming back 2 more days later and kids got referrals. So those group of kids, I really look forward to changing their mindset and to showing them the importance of owning your greatness or being your best self or standing out from the crowd.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what I look forward to. I look forward the most of showing up for them and being that person because a lot of them lack that consistency and I look to fill that void for them to be able to show, hey, bro, this is how it's supposed to go. I'm telling you, you change this switch or you do this and you'll see some success. So I just look forward to grabbing those kids and giving them that success.
Yeah.
What about y'all, fellas?
I would say much of the same. You're seeing that moment when the dots, connect and they like, okay, the person actually do care about me. The hopes and dreams I had for myself that I may have put on the shelf because I was like, it ain't gonna happen for me. Now seeing that dream revitalized, right. Say, okay, now I got the resources around me, I have the people around me that really sown in good. So now let me pick up that dream I had and really start to go for it. Just seeing that hope, being brought to the surface. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Mine would be the experience and just being able to bridge the gap. So, when I say the experience, we got the experience with just with the students in itself. So, back to your point where, working with those students who they may not have that father figure. They may not have that parent at home that truly understands what it takes in order to get their kids, to the next level, get them through through the school year. So that experience that we can have not only with the student, but the student, the parent, and the teacher. And that experience in itself, like I'm not even gonna lie, that was gratifying to be able to speak to a parent. You call a parent and you hear the parent on the phone. Yeah, when you call it, hey, I'm Mr. Eddie calling about your son, and you can hear it's almost like the air just going like they holding their breath to hear what's next. But I just want you to know that your son is actually doing good, and I'm here to let you know that I'm not gonna call only for negative things. I'm gonna let you know the good and the bad because I want you to know your son is a great young man.
Yeah.
But this is what we're gonna do in order to get him there. So that part with the experience of being able to tie all 3 together, but also it goes right into the understanding. Yeah. Getting the understanding between the community and itself. We came up through Marion County Public Schools and look at us. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that it's a failing system. I think we just have to get that care, that love from the teachers, from the parents, just the community as a whole. And then if we get that understanding, if we do what we're supposed to do as an organization to show what it takes on this type of platform with it, like everything that we touch, I feel like we could get that flowing back to our community, and that'll help reach everything that we're talking about doing. We'll be able to do that flawlessly, with no problem. So
I love it, and I hope for sure, hope, motivation, all those things. But that's it, fellas. So for you all that are watching World, please follow us on Instagram, cut_different_Inc, on Facebook, Cut Different Inc, and on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube. This is probably what you're watching this on. Subscribe to our YouTube. It doesn't cost to subscribe. It doesn't cost to like. It doesn't cost to comment. This is the village. This is the family, man. We all giving the information. What we do is for you all, for everybody watching us, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you for supporting, and we'll see you all next time. Fellas.